Here we have the inside of the Hobby Siesta T-65. If we firstly come to the main control panel just above the entrance door, we have a button here which will turn the 12-volt system on and off. This illumination here is just letting us know that we are connected to mains electricity. This button here turns the waste tank heater on and off. So if you are using the van in extremely cold climate and there's a danger of freezing, you can turn this on here to avoid any frost damage occurring to the waste tank. Beneath it we have the isolator button that will turn the stereo on and off. This button lets us know how much water is in the fresh tank. When the waste tank needs emptying, this will illuminate here. This button lets us know the condition of the leisure battery, and this one will give us the condition of the vehicle battery. Beside it we have the controls for the Truma Combi heating and hot water. We have two dials here and here. This one here picks the power source that you want to be using to run the system. So if we start at the top just here, we have two wavy lines. Wavy lines represent mains electricity. So if I was to fire the system up now, we would be using 2 kilowatts. We then have a single wavy line, so we have 1 kilowatt if we're on a low amp site, just to basically help us from not tripping. If we have no main supply, we can flick it onto the little picture of the flame just here to run the system on gas. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can run in dual fuel. So we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 1 kilowatt and a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts. These two settings are extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. Once we pick the power source, so I'm going to use main supply at 2 kilowatts, we then come across to this side just here. You'll see at the moment we are in the off position. If I now flick up one, we are now heating hot water to 40 degrees using main supply at 2 kilowatts. This amber light will go out once the water temperature is at 40 degrees. If we now flick it up again, we then have hot water at 60 degrees, and again the amber light will go out once the temperature has been achieved. This amber light here is just letting you know that you do have main supply. If I use gas, you will see it will obviously go out. If we now go back to off and drop down to the little picture of the flame just here, this flame here represents the blown air heating system. It does not represent gas. It's only representing gas on this side. So now we're using still main supply using 2 kilowatts, and we turn the heating on and we control the temperature on the inner dial just here. If I now want heating and hot water, I drop it to the lowest one just here, and we'll now have the heating on and hot water at 60 degrees. So basically I class anything above the off as summer settings and anything below as winter settings. If you're using gas and for any reason it fails to light, a red light will appear just here to let you know. If we now come to the bench seat just here and we just remove the cushions for a moment and we lift up, we have the location of the fresh water tank just here. So if you do need to add any cleaning powders etc to it, you can do so nice and easily just by removing this red cap. Also tucked in here we have the regulator for the solar panel. We do not need to do anything with this. It will just let you know what it's up to with the little green lights. So at the moment you'll see both lights are solid green, so it's just letting us know that both the leisure battery and the vehicle battery are at optimum level and the panel's in float mode. Whenever the panel is actually popping a charge into the batteries, they will steadily flash. If you come to it and instead of you're getting a steady flash, you're getting more of a strobe, it's just letting you know that the UV light level is extremely low and it's only doing a minimal amount. Above the travel seats we have the Avtex television. The actual aerial for it is just in the overhead locker here. You will see that we have the digital amplifier just here, on and off on the side, and then we control the boost on the dial just here. To move the mast about, release the collar, and then you can then move it up and down. Do make sure that it's down for travel. When using it, get it into the position you require, and then tighten the collar. Never over tighten these because you can split the plastic if you're not being careful. If you do need to do any more additional tuning, you can flip the aerial from the horizontal to the vertical position just by turning the tail just here. If we now come to the television itself, it behaves like any normal TV, on and off just on this button just here. You will find on the Avtex TVs that you have a DVD player in this side here, and along the top you have USB points. Because this is a travel television and you will need to retune as you move about, it has a nice easy quick retune button just here. Just hold it in and it will take you back to the retune menu. Just hit OK and it will then retune all the channels back in. If we now come across to the light control for the front end, you'll see you have all individual light switches to turn them on and off. If you want to turn all the lights off in the van, you can just use this button just here. We then have the hob to light. Just push in, twist and press the igniter. We then have the oven. Again, with this one, it's just push in and it will auto ignite itself. And then beneath it we have the Dometic fridge freezer. So we're currently in the off position just here. If we now turn, we have main supply for when we're hooked up. 12 volt maintain for when we're driving to keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. And then lastly, gas. If you're going to use the unit on gas, you need to come across, do the temperature control, hold it in and then press the igniter. What will then happen is when it's lit, this line here will drift out of the white into the green. As you can see, it's slowly moving up, just letting you know that it's lit. Once you think you're happy, let go. As soon as you then turn it to anything else, it will then automatically put itself back out again. if we now come to the locker just here beneath the bed, and then if we now pull up the mattress just here, we can see the top of the boiler itself. Through the gloom just down there you can see the water pump, and then also in here we have the main strip switches. Might just be able to get it into view. There we go, just there. So if something's not working on mains, just come to this point here and just see whether or not you've tripped. At the back here we then have the individual switches for the rear lights. And if we now come to the washroom, we have the Thetford toilet just here, open to the cassette just on the grey lever just down here. Push to flush, and then close the cassette. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you feel resistance, just make sure nobody's left the hatch open. Illumination just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying. Light switch. And then we have the basin and the shower. Just tucked down here you will find the gas isolation taps for the appliances. They are all in the on position and can stay like that. I always say these are more for maintenance. If you smell gas in the van, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off.